Ava met Ryan on a cold evening in November. It was the kind of night where you could see your breath in the air, and everyone on the street hurried to get indoors. But she didn't want to go home just yet. Home was quiet, too quiet. So she walked slowly, taking the long way through the park, watching the bare trees wave in the wind. That's where she saw him. He was sitting on a bench alone, his hands tucked in his coat pockets, staring at the frozen lake like it had answers. She almost walked past him. But then he looked up. Their eyes met, just for a second. And that second changed everything. "Cold night," he said, smiling slightly. She nodded. "Very. You walk here often?" "Only when I don't feel like going. Home," he chuckled. "Same." His name was Ryan. He was tall, not handsome in a magazine way, but something about him felt strong, safe. He spoke gently, listened more than he talked. Ava liked that. They talked for hours on that bench, about music, about coffee, about loneliness, and when they said goodbye, he asked, "Would you want to walk here again sometime? Maybe not alone next time?" She said yes. That was the beginning. They met again 2 days later, then again the next weekend. Soon the walks turned into dinners. Dinners turned into long phone calls, then sleepovers, then toothbrushes left. Behind, Ava fell hard. He made her laugh. He remembered little things she said. He brought her coffee with exactly 2 sugars and no milk. He liked her paintings, even the weird ones. He held her hand in crowded places. Kissed her forehead in the mornings. It wasn't just love. It was safe love, the kind that makes you feel like the world can't touch you. Ryan didn't talk much about his past. He said he had been in a long relationship before, but it ended badly. She didn't push. Everyone has ghosts. She had hers too. She moved into his apartment after 8 months. It wasn't fancy. 1 bedroom, a small kitchen, cracks in the ceiling. But it felt like home. They hung photos on the walls, took turns cooking dinner, shared a tiny closet, argued over dumb things like who forgot to buy toothpaste. And every night, she fell asleep beside him thinking, this is it. This is my forever. She never noticed the distance starting. Not at first. It was small. A missed call here, a late night there, new passwords on his phone, a sudden habit of turning his screen away when she walked into the room. When she asked, "Is everything okay?" he would smile and say, "Just tired. Work's been crazy." She believed him because love makes you trust, even when you shouldn't. One night, while folding laundry, Ava found a necklace in his coat pocket. It wasn't hers. It was delicate, silver. With a tiny letter S on the charm, her name didn't start with S. She held it in her palm for a long time. Heart pounding, hands shaking. When Ryan got home, she asked. He stared at the necklace for a second too long before saying, "Oh, that? That's my sister's. She left it in my car." Ava had never met his sister. "You've never mentioned her," she said quietly. Ryan smiled. "We're not that close." She nodded slowly, but her heart didn't believe him. That night, when he fell asleep, she checked his phone. She hated herself for doing it, but something inside her told her to look, and what she found shattered her world. Messages, hundreds of them, to someone named S. They weren't innocent. They were long, romantic, intimate. Things like, "I miss you in my bed," and "I can't wait until I don't have to hide anymore." Photos, too, of them at restaurants, at her apartment, of her wearing that necklace. Ava dropped the phone. Her chest felt tight. Her ears rang. She went to the bathroom and threw up. Then she sat on the floor and cried. Not loud, just quiet tears that wouldn't stop. In the morning, she made breakfast, like nothing happened, because she didn't know what to do yet. She needed time, answers, strength. She looked at Ryan that morning, really looked, and wondered, "Who are you, and why did you lie to me?" Ava didn't confront him right away. She tried to once or twice. But each time the words reached her lips, something stopped her. Fear, maybe. Or disbelief. Or the foolish hope that there was some explanation that made sense. She needed time to think. So she watched. Watched the way he smiled at his phone when he thought she wasn't looking. The way he came home later than usual. The way he got annoyed. If she asked where he'd been. Once she asked casually, "Did you have dinner already?" He blinked. Just for a second. Then smiled. No. Why? She knew he was lying. There was garlic on his breath. He hated garlic. She didn't cook anything with garlic. It was a tiny lie. But it meant something. So she said nothing and waited. Each day felt heavier, each night colder. Sleeping beside someone you don't trust feels like sleeping beside a stranger. You know their heartbeat, but not their secrets. You know their face, but not their truth. She started keeping a notebook, writing things down, times, dates, words he said. She wasn't crazy, she just needed proof. Even if it was only for herself. One day, when he left for work, she took his spare car key from the drawer and opened his glove box. There it was. Lip balm. A pink one she didn't use. A receipt for a necklace. Dinner bills from places they never went. And a photo. Just a little printed. Polaroid Ryan with a woman she didn't know. Her arms around him. Their faces too close. There was no S on the back. But she didn't need it. This was her. The other woman. The one with the necklace. That night, when he came home, Ava didn't smile. She didn't cook dinner. She didn't ask about his day. She just said, "We need to talk." Ryan looked up from his phone. "Okay." She pulled the photo from her back pocket and dropped it on the table. He stared at it. "Didn't speak? Just froze." "I found it in your car," she said. Her voice calm but sharp like glass. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "It's not what you think." Her heart squeezed. It was the oldest line in the book. Then, "What is it?" she asked. He swallowed. "A mistake." "How long?" Ryan didn't answer. She stood up. "How long?" He looked away. "A few months. A few months." That was during the time they had celebrated their anniversary, when they had decorated the apartment for Christmas, when he had kissed her forehead and whispered, "I love you." She felt sick. "And her name?" Ava asked. "Celine." Celine. The S, the necklace, the messages, the weekends he was working late, everything fell into place. "Do you love her?" Ava asked, barely a whisper. Ryan looked at her, torn. He didn't answer. And that was answer enough. She felt something inside her break, but she didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, she said, "You need to leave." Ryan stepped back. "What?" "Ava, wait." "You need to leave. Tonight." He hesitated. "Can't we talk about this?" "No," she said. Her voice cracked. "You talked to her. You lied to me. You cheated. You made me feel like I was the only one and I wasn't even your favorite one." He opened his mouth again, but she cut him off. "I want you out by morning. If you're not, I'll pack your things myself." He stood there, stunned. Ava turned and walked to the bedroom. She locked the door and collapsed on the bed. She didn't sleep. The next morning, he was gone. The closet was half empty, his toothbrush missing. His key left on the counter. He left no note. No final sorry. And in a way, that hurt more than anything, because it meant she was right to let him go. Days passed in silence. She didn't talk to anyone about it. Not at first. She didn't want pity. Didn't want the sad looks, the quiet "I told you so" from people who once doubted him. Instead, she cleaned the apartment, threw out the sheets they had shared, deleted the photos, replaced his mug with one she bought herself that said, "Strong woman, energy." She even painted again, For the first time in weeks, not pretty things, just color and shape and pain. But it felt good. Real. One day, while walking through the park alone, she passed the bench where they had first met. She stopped, sat down, closed her eyes. The lake was frozen again. Full circle. And, for the first time since Ryan left, she smiled, not because she was happy, but because she had survived. Ava didn't expect to feel better so quickly. But something changed after Ryan left. Maybe it was the quiet, or the lack of lies in the air, or maybe it was the simple relief of no longer pretending everything was okay. She took long walks again, the same park, the same frozen lake. But now she didn't sit on the bench. She walked past it. Each time, a little stronger, she found a job at a local art studio. It didn't pay much, but it made her feel alive. She taught kids how to paint with their fingers, their brushes, their imaginations. They didn't ask her questions about her past. They just smiled, laughed, made messes. It was exactly what she needed. One afternoon, while organizing supplies, a girl about 6 years old asked, "Do you have a boyfriend?" Ava blinked. "No, not anymore." The girl shrugged. "Good. My mom says boys are confusing." Ava laughed. "Your mom's a smart lady." It was a small moment, but it stayed with her all day. That night, Ava went home, took a long shower, made herself pasta, and curled up on the couch with a blanket and a book. She hadn't read in months. Her eyes scanned the pages slowly. A love story, ironically, but this one had a happy ending. She fell asleep before she could finish it. The next morning, she opened her messages to find one that made her chest tighten. It was from Ryan. "Can we talk?" She stared at the screen for a long time. Her thumb hovered over the delete button, but she didn't press it. Instead, she replied, "What for?" He wrote back immediately, "I made a mistake." She almost threw her phone across the room. She didn't reply. A few minutes later, he sent another, "Please, Ava, just one conversation. I need to explain." She waited hours before responding. Finally, she wrote, "You can talk, but only once, and not at my place." They agreed to meet at a small coffee shop they used to go to on Sunday mornings. When she walked in, he was already there, holding a cup of coffee she didn't ask for. He looked different, tired, pale, thinner. "Ava," he said, standing awkwardly. She sat down. "You wanted to talk, so talk." Ryan looked nervous. He kept touching his cup, spinning it between his palms. "I ended things with Celine." Ava raised an eyebrow. "And?" She wasn't what I thought. It didn't feel real." Ava said nothing. "I kept thinking about you, about us, the way I threw everything away." Still, she said nothing. "I miss you," he whispered, "every single day." Finally, Ava looked him in the eye. "You miss the comfort, not me." He flinched. She continued, her voice calm but clear. "You didn't love me enough to stay loyal. You had me, and you looked for someone else. Now that she's gone, you want to come back. That's not love, Ryan. That's regret. I made a mistake," he said again. She nodded. "Yes, and now you live with it." There was silence between them, the kind that comes when a door has closed for good. "I just thought, maybe we could try again?" he asked quietly. Ava almost laughed. "Do you know what I've learned these past few months?" she asked. He looked at her. "I learned that. I'm stronger alone than I ever was with someone who made me feel small. I learned that I don't need a man to feel whole. And most of all, I learned that love without respect is nothing." Ryan looked down. His hands shook. "I'm sorry," he said. "I believe you," Ava replied. "But I don't want you back." She stood up. He didn't follow, and she walked away. Outside, the wind was cold, but the sun was shining. She smiled, not because she won, but because she chose herself. Finally. The days turned into weeks. The weeks turned into months. And slowly, Ava stopped thinking about Ryan every morning. There were days she still remembered. Days when a song on the radio or a familiar street made her chest tighten for a second. But the pain didn't hold on to her the way it used to. It came and it passed. Like wind through trees. At the studio, she painted more than ever. She lost herself in colors. She made abstract pieces, bold and full of emotion. One afternoon, her manager said, "You should consider doing a show. People need to see this." Ava laughed at first. "No one wants to see my messy heart on canvas." But the idea stayed with her. And 3 months later, Ava had her first gallery showing. It was small, simple. Just one room. Her name in quiet letters on a white wall, Ava Cardenas, Rebirth in Color. Friends came, colleagues, a few strangers who heard about it online. She stood in a corner, nervous, watching people look at her work, wondering if they saw what she felt. And then a man approached her. He was holding a glass of wine, clean-shaven, kind eyes. "I love the one with the black and gold swirls," he said. It felt like heartbreak and healing at the same time. Ava smiled softly. "That's exactly what it was." He held out his hand. "I'm Theo." "Ava," she said, shaking it. They talked. About art, about life, about loss. He told her he'd been divorced for a year, that he never thought he'd enjoy an art show, but his sister dragged him there. She didn't tell him about Ryan. Not yet. But she felt something different in Theo. Something calm. Something safe. They exchanged numbers. They started texting. Then meeting for coffee. Then walking through museums, sharing thoughts on paintings and life. He never rushed her. Never asked for more than she could give. He listened when she spoke. Really listened. And slowly, Ava began to trust again. One morning, almost a year after she had told Ryan to leave, she stood in her tiny kitchen making coffee while Theo sat at the table reading a book. She looked at him. Barefoot, peaceful, ordinary. And her heart didn't ache with fear. It felt whole. She walked over and kissed the top of his head. He looked up, smiled. "What was that for?" "For being you," she said. He reached for her hand. "I like being me. When I'm with you." She didn't say "I love you" that day, not yet. But she knew it was coming, and for the first time in forever, she wasn't scared. That night, she painted again. A soft background, warm tones, gentle strokes. She named it Beginning, and that's what it was. Not a happy ending, but a strong beginning. Because the truth is, love isn't about holding on to someone who broke you. It's about finding yourself again. And maybe, just maybe, finding someone who sees the beauty in the cracks.